because some people was not able to join us. We want to make this available online. So we're going to start with the roll call, and I'll go through and call people names and ask folks to introduce themselves. If you wouldn't mind, Danielle, can you just minimize the presentation mode for right now, just so I can see who all is here? And I'm going to start with Mr. Arlen Colors and ask that you introduce yourself.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Arlen Colors. Been in Reservoir Hill for 27 years, something like that. The numbers escape me, but I've known Antonio since damn near day one. He's always been active in the community. I'm the president of Upper Utah Madison, and also the president of Upper Utah Madison Neighborhood Association, and also the chair of the Planning and Development Committee for Reservoir Hill Association.
All right, thank you, Arlen. Next, Steve Howard.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Just go ahead and introduce yourself and what neighborhood.
I'm Steve Howard. I'm a resident of Bolton Hill, former president of the Neighborhood Association, longtime supporter of everyone here in West Baltimore. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. I'm gonna go to Chris from For My City. Chris?
Yes, hi, Senator Hayes. How are you? Hope everyone is doing well. Chris, For My City, nonprofit organization here in West Baltimore, focused on food insecurity and environmental sustainability. Glad to be here.
Thank you, Chris. There's someone by the name of AJS. AJS, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hello.
All right, sound like you kind of having connection problem. Do you have your
I
don't know what that's all about, but maybe we'll come back to you if we have better sound. All right, I see Akila Bell.
Good evening. My name is Akila Bell. I am joining tonight as a member of the Baltimore Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. It is great to hear about the 4 bills that Delegate Wells has passed. And I'm here and happy to meet all of our neighbors.
Awesome. Thank you, Akila. Ms. Janet.
Hello.
Yes. Want to introduce yourself? Ms. Janet Allen. Did we lose you?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say congratulations to Papa Hayes on that beautiful new baby boy. Oh my God, he is so beautiful. He's magical. I was like, ooh, he is. That's a beautiful baby that you have. Congratulations to you and your wife. My name is Janet Allen. I live in the Heritage Crossing Resident Association, and we just want to make Baltimore one of the best places, and even our community one of the best places for people to live, play, and work. And I thank Senator Hayes for everything that he's done to help us make the dream a reality. We have a lot more work to do, but I'm pressing forward, and I just hope that we all can press together.
Got you. Thank you, Miss Janet. Miss Alma Evans. Miss Alma Evans.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alma Evans. I'm the president of Evergreen Protective Association, West Baltimore. That's about it. I'm looking for some information.
Yes, ma'am.
To help strengthen our relationship and build our community as well.
Awesome. Thank you, Miss Alma. Biff, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and your community?
Yes, sir. I'm trying to turn my video on right quick. So I'm Biff Browning. I'm president of the Union Square Association and proud members of the 40th District. And always glad to see our senator in the delegation. And hopefully we'll see some of y'all next month. We'll start doing our last Sunday of the month free concerts in the park. So please come over and join us, and look forward to meeting some of the other presidents and other community leaders.
Absolutely. That's always fun. For those of you who haven't had a chance to participate in the Union Square festivals in the park, it's definitely a treat and it's family friendly. Let's go to Miss Andrea Reed. Miss Andrea? If not, we want to hear from Mr. Antonio Atkins.
Hello, did y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Senator Hayes? First, my name is Antonio Atkinson. I'm a representative of the No Boundaries Coalition, the Black Happiness Program, to be more specific. But I was getting a call this afternoon from my buddy over there, Ian, at the No Boundaries, and he had told me, like, man, because I couldn't make it to the meeting physical the night that I had tonight, but he said, well, could I do him a favor and turn into this meeting tonight? He might have said it's led by Senator Hayes, and I was like, that's my man. I know you remember my face. I know your moms. I know. And then you helped me stop I was the PTO president at Rosemont Elementary Middle when you stood by me and you helped me stop the asbestos removal
yes,
thing
sir.
they tried to do while my kids was contained. So I definitely appreciate that and anything. So once your name came up, I said, oh, I could definitely do that for you and support the meeting. So I'm here for information and anything to uplift the people in our community.
Thank you so much. And No Boundaries is an awesome organization in our community. Ashley Esposito.
Hi all, how are you doing?
Good. Ashley Esposito is from the Vollettville community who's joined us tonight. If there's anyone, we're just saying our names and which community we're from. Also, I just want to remind people this is not a campaign event. So like China, chill out. This is not the place nor the time. Introduce yourself in the communities that you're from. And I'm gonna go to Mr. Chad Hayes from Planning.
Good evening. Great to be here. Chad Hayes, Western District Planner with the Baltimore State Department of Planning.
Awesome. Brian Austin.
Yes, Senator. Yes, Senator. Hold on. Trying to get this. Trying to come on the screen. Here we go. Good afternoon, Senator, members of the delegation, community members. Brian Austin here on behalf of Park Heights Renaissance.
All right, thank you. And China Terrell.
Hello, good folks. I live here in Bolton Hill. Excited for updates tonight. And of course, you know, I'm running for delegate. Excited to listen. Thank you.
All right, so you don't want to listen. Okay. Next, we have Deborah Boston. Ms. Deborah.
Oh, I live in Walbrook Junction. I'm just on here to listen to learn something. Hey, Antonio.
Yes, ma'am. How are you? Jack Boyson.
Good evening, Senator Hayes. Thank you for all you're doing for us. Jack Boyson, immediate past president of the Wyman Park Community Association. Delighted to hear the updates. Thank you.
Indeed. And Samuel Jordan.
Yes. Good afternoon, and thank you, Senator Hayes and members of the delegation, 40th District. I want to thank you for your support for our Transportation Equity Act of 2022. But I also want to make this mention of a very important introduction Senator Hayes made for me with former county exec Kevin Kamenetz. We were able to change his advocacy for a red line from CMS Woodlawn to Lexington Market to CMS Woodlawn to Bayview East. It made our advocacy truly regional. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And Ms. Robin Boston, a member of our State Central Committee.
Hello, everyone. I'm Robin Boston. I currently live in the Hollands Market area, but I lived in Reservoir Hill for years, and I've worked with No Boundaries and other organizations. And I'm actually still at work, and I don't know how to work the camera. So
That's okay. As long as we can hear you, you're doing
as long as you can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. Indeed. Miss Eleanor Everett.
Yes, hello. This is Eleanor Everett from Evergreen Protective Association. And we're looking forward to you coming at the meeting. We are beginning to go in next month in the church where we meet.
Awesome. Once session is over, I look forward to seeing everyone. So we should be.
Yes, we appreciate that. And we are thankful for all you've always done for us. Thank you.
Ma'am. God bless you. Wanda Bess.
Good evening, Senator and everyone. Upton Planning Committee.
All right. And then I see Miss Savannah.
Good afternoon, Senator. Thank you very much. My name is Savannah Welcher. I am a member of the Upton community for the last 5 years. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. All right. I see someone named Y. Simmons. All right, Y. Simmons, and then TJ Tunji.
Hey, good evening, Senator. Good evening, 40th District. Tunji Adenikon, just here on behalf of Brooke Learman, just here to listen, bring greetings. Wish I could be on camera, but I'm on the way to Prince George's, so I'll gladly listen.
Understood. What about Edith Gilliard?
Hi, my name is Edith Gilliard Canty, president of the Franklin Square Community Association. And I have to say, I'm happy to see 40 and 44 together.
Yes, ma'am. God bless you. And I see a Ray Baylor.
Yeah, Ray Baylor, member, stakeholder in Midtown Edmonton.
Excellent. And Thomas Phillips. Quincy Goldsmith.
Quincy Goldsmith, Union Square. I own Stem and Vine, plant shop event space in downtown.
Okay, Minister Glenn Smith.
Good evening, everyone. Minister Glenn Smith, Coppin Heights Community Development Corporation, Vice President of Baltimore Transit Equity Coalition.
Got you. And I see someone down here that says iPhone.
It must be me, Paulette Curl.
Oh boy, Miss Paulette.
President of Popperton now, also president of the TERS. Hi, Senator. How you doing?
Good. How are you? I see Miss Jocelyn Martin.
I'm just trying to make a difference.
Awesome. Jocelyn Martin.
Good evening, Jocelyn Martin. I'm with Wyman Park. Congratulations to you, but more importantly, congratulations to your wife who had the baby right in the middle of the assembly. So she doesn't have a lot of support. So, and the other thing I would like to say is thank you so much for all your work on the paid medical leave. So thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so very much. I see John Preston here. Oh, there.
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, this is John Preston. I'm a resident of Reservoir Hill, and I'm also president of the Reservoir Hill Improvement Council.
All right. And Miss Kathy Schulman, I saw you on here and I couldn't, your name wouldn't pop up, but Miss Kathy Schulman, will you please introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Kathy Schulman from another proud member of Wyman Park. I really want to echo the congratulations to you and your wife for your baby, and also tag on with Jocelyn for really great work on the paid and family leave. I think that's such an important issue. And thank you to Delegate Amprey and Delegate Wells for your strong work as well. Thank you all.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. It's Miss Kathy Schulman from Wyman Park. And I think we've gotten through everyone. If I missed anyone, can you speak? I'm gonna go on.
This is
Go ahead.
Senator.
Yes.
This is Jenny Morgan from Baltimore City Rec and Parks. I'm the
Excellent.
legislative liaison. I live in Lake Walker and my mommy lives in Reservoir Hill.
Thank you, Jenny.
Sonia Edie.
Miss Sonia Edie.
Hi, this is Sonia Edie. Yes, President of Poppleton Now Community Association. Good to be here with you all.
Good to see you. And I see Keandra up there.
Hi, good evening. Congrats, Senator Hayes.
Thank you.
I'm Keandra Pryor. I'm the president of the Reservoir Hill Association, which is the neighborhood representative organization of Reservoir Hill.
Excellent. And I see Matt from the Liquor Board. Thank you.
Good evening, all. Matt Allcomer, Community Liaison for the Baltimore City Liquor Board and resident of Hollands Market in 40th.
Excellent. Eric?
Hey, Eric Colchmero, Alzheimer's Association of Maryland, working across Baltimore City and throughout the state. I'm just here in support of the district.
Excellent. Fantastic. All right. Oh, Mr. R. Ford.
Robert Ford, former president of the Holland Park Neighborhood Council.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Ford. Jules Dunham.
Hi, Jules Dunham-Howie, Director of the UPC West Side CDC. Thank you so much for your legislation regarding appraisal bias. Great job.
Thank you. All right. Was there?
Hi, I'm Jim Prost.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm Jim Prost. I'm a board member of the Bolton Hill Community Association and chair of the Safety and Security Committee, and have a particular interest in making the red line happen.
Indeed. Jim, you are listed as iPhone. You are the iPhone caller.
I'm the iPhone. Okay. I know I'm not seeing anybody. It thinks I'm driving.
Yes.
So I'm in a safe driving mode.
Indeed. Good. Great. Mike Cross.
Hi, it's Mike Cross Barnett from Reservoir Hill. I'm a board member of Reservoir Hill Association, Upper Utah Madison Neighborhood Association, and Reservoir Residents Against the Tunnels.
Excellent. And Miss Inez Robb, the Miss Inez Robb.
Yeah, yes. Inez Robb, the president of the Western District Community Relations Council and the Fulton Community Association. And thank you so much for always keeping, informing and communicating with the community and with the 40th and the 44A. Thank you for all that you do. We really appreciate that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. All right.
Hi, good evening, Senator.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Hi, Erin Peniston, Bolton Hill member. Thank you so much for your service and for the delegation, and just glad to be here in conversation with so many wonderful folks tonight. Thanks.
Thank you so much. And Miss Lauren.
Hi, Senator Lauren Mohammed, Reservoir Hill Association, Chair of the Green Committee. We've been communicating through emails. Ms. Mayo, looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else we missed? Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Go right ahead. Speak up. Yep. Is that
yes?
how?
This is
Oh,
yes.
Joseph.
This is Joseph Douglas.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
representing Joseph Douglas. I'm representing Dr. Campbell here at the Step Forward program off of 800 North Fulton Avenue. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us. All right. Then go ahead.
Senator Hayes.
Go ahead.
Senator Hayes, Howard Hughes, Holland's Roundhouse Vice President. Want to congratulate you on your newborn, and also thank you again for helping out with trying to open up the rec at James McHenry. You see, right now we're up here coaching them right now for the basketball. You know, hopefully be around to coach yours. So thank you very much for the help.
No, thank you. And Howard, thank you for your service and your commitment to that community there. I appreciate you joining us, although you're working with our young people.
Senator Hayes, this is Arlene Wilkins, president of the Baltimore Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta. Great to be here with you this evening while we're still in our afterglow of hitting 100 years of service to the Baltimore community.
Wow, thank you so much, Miss Arlene. Did we miss anyone else?
I thought Margaret Powell, but I don't know if she's still on.
Yeah, I thought I saw Miss Margaret Powell.
I'm still here.
Oh,
Hello.
go ahead, Miss Powell. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening, everyone. Matthew Henson Elementary School, Coppin Heights CDC board member and
all of West Baltimore. I belong to West Baltimore, the 40th
That's right.
district. Okay.
And strong educator.
Hey guys,
I see one of our state central committee members.
how's everybody? It's my pleasure to be here. Pleasure to join the 40th delegation. Senator, I had mentioned before in that last meeting I was on, you I got to give you props. I'm always willing to give credit where credit is due. You have put forth some phenomenal pieces of legislation. I've been following it. I've been reading it. I was like, well, I got to give it to them.
Well,
you know what I
thank
mean? We haven't always seen eye to eye, but like I said, I'm gonna give credit where credit is due. And because I'm a lifelong 40th resident myself from Sandtown, Democratic Central Committee member, and always been a part of the community, I recognize good work, and I always will. I just wanted to say
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Monica Cooper. Appreciate it. Anyone else feel free to jump in while Danielle bring up the slide, or we'll just keep going here.
Hey, Senator Hayes, Tia Richards here, Coppin Heights, CDC.
Hey, love Copper Heights CDC. Thank you so much, Tia. All right, I don't see any slides, so, and I can't remember what the order. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go to the next slide, Danielle, so I could remember what order we said we were gonna go in. Oh, cool.
Who do you call?
We wanted to put this up a couple of years ago when I was first elected, and we didn't have an international pandemic going on. We used to convene all of our community leaders, and it was kind of an opportunity for us to meet on a regular basis to help help leaders improve their communication, and one, help understand like how to pull the right levers of government. We have a lot of dedicated people in our community. Oftentimes, how they access service isn't always transparent and clear. And so we put this slide together really, really quickly, and I'll go through it just to give an overview, but hopefully once the pandemic is over, we could go back to some of those more regular meetings with our community leaders and have conversations. But I understand a lot of people are reluctant given our current situation. But of course, at the federal level, if you have any issue with our federal agencies, including the Postal Service or federal taxes or passport, Social Security, not Social Security, not social services. We have as our contacts Congressman Ofume, U.S. Senator Ben Cardin, and U.S. Senator Chris Van Hollen. Next slide, please. At the state level, of course, we have had many, many calls as it relates to state unemployment, and we've been so blessed, really, through my staff. Shout out to Ms. Mayo, who've helped so many individuals through troubling times, and the rest of our staff in helping people through unemployment, state taxes, Maryland transportation. And at the state level, we deal with social services, not Social Security. And you have us all here, myself being a senator from the 40th district, Delegate Marlon.amprey, Delegate Frank.conaway Jr., Delegate Melissa.wells, and from 44A, Delegate Roxane.prettyman. Next slide. And then at the very local level, the people that you would call is obviously your council member. We have too many of them that overlap the district. It's six city council districts that our district overlap. And so we want to let you know for things like sanitation, water, utility bill, traffic, and roads, you could all either call 311 or contact your council person. And most people may have a better idea who their council person is. Next slide. So I'm gonna turn it over to Delegate Amprey. We often get a lot of calls and concerns as it relates to public safety. And so I've asked Delegate Amprey to go over some of the things that we've done. One of the things that I think we have as a shared value here in our 40th district, obviously, you know, there's consequences in our criminal justice system, but we also like to see a balanced approach in making sure that we provide opportunities that will deter people away from crime and maybe coming into contact with the law. So some of those things are highlighted here, and I'll turn it over to Delegate Amprey.
Thank you, Senator. And I'll backtrack a little bit. I know I just realized on the federal assistance slide, some people in our community do have Sarbanes as their congressperson. So make sure you reach out if you live in, I think, Hamden, Wyman Park. some of those areas would be under Sarbanes district. So just make that mental note. Make sure you all are contacting his office as well. Don't want to overburden Congressman Nfume there. So public safety is near and dear to the delegation's heart. We understand that we have a lot of, it's been a rough go these past few years, especially with COVID. Crime has been up everywhere. And, one of the things that we've worked really hard here in Annapolis on is addressing crime, but addressing it, as the senator pointed out, holistically. So thinking about how we can prevent crime, thinking about how we can solve crime, and thinking about how we can always make sure that those who are returning from being held accountable, they have an opportunity to thrive and succeed once they return to our communities. And that's something that's really near and dear to my heart. As we see recidivism rates are high, a lot of reoffenses happen, and the way we can reduce that is ensuring that we create more opportunities. So previous sessions, I don't want to spend too much time there, but we had the PROTECT Act in 2020. We had these are kind of those things that were built in order to prevent crime, create resources to do so. And Senate Bill 708, the Maryland Violence Intervention and Prevention Program Fund, along with our alcoholic beverage bills that we brought forth last year. We brought some more this year, in which we were reducing the hours in and around our community. The data shows that liquor stores that stay open up until 2 a.m. If you look at maps of where shootings are occurring, they're occurring in very close proximity to where these liquor stores are that are open late. And whenever we've reduced those hours, it's been an effective strategy to reduce the crime in those areas. So we've been working with businesses to work towards ensuring that we're using everything we can have in the toolbox in order to reduce crime as much as possible. Some of the things we're working on this session, and I'm going to go through some of these. I don't want to spend too much time on each one, so I'll do my best to pick through. But please write down the bill numbers if you want to go back and look at them in more detail. So the Senate Bill 585, the warrants and absconding, that bill more so relates to creating some new systems so that those who are suffering from addiction or other health issues, the process in which we deal with those individuals is fair and equitable, and ensuring that we are still reducing crime and holding them accountable while they are waiting for trial. The other bills that we've been working on that have passed thus far, one that's really near and dear to my heart is House Bill 425, which is our public safety untraceable firearms. Here in the 40th district, we have seen a large uptick in these things called ghost guns. And what they are these guns that you can literally buy the pieces to online without a background check. You only have to be 18, have them mailed to your home, and you can assemble a full functioning gun that is at the same level as a Glock, a 9mm. We've seen a huge uptick in these guns. I think upwards of 400% increase in usage in the city. The 40th district has seen some of the highest amounts. We actually busted a house last year that was manufacturing these guns. So what this bill does is it bans those guns from being purchased and bought here in Maryland, and then it requires those who have received these guns to be able to serialize them. And I'm really thankful for this bill because they took some of the pieces from my bill from last year to get this bill across the finish line. So I'm so thankful that we got it done. And we're hoping that because it was cross-filed, it's pretty much almost a guarantee that we'll get this all the way through. It's a matter of what the governor decides to do with a veto or not. Let's see here. The other thing that was really important going into this session was our criminal procedure and public safety as it relates to pretrial. So House Bill 441, Senate Bill 586. What this bill does is it requires, and you can go to the next slide, Danielle, because it talks about it here too, but it requires that there be a 24-hour notice when those who are released for pretrial. One thing that we've noticed throughout crime in our city, the unfortunate reality is that I believe, and Senator, you might have this number exact, but I think it's like 60% of those who have been shot or those who have pulled the trigger were supposed to be under state supervision, whether they were released for pretrial or whether they were released on probation. So what this bill does is it ensures that when those who are released for pretrial, that there's a 24-hour notice given to the police so they know they can track this individual and make sure that they are not being a safety threat. House Bill 1021 ensures that our gun stores are more safe. We've seen a lot of break-ins and we've seen a lot of guns entering the black market that we want to keep off of our streets. So that's really important there. House Bill 158, and this kind of goes more into the premise of how can we make sure that those returning have better opportunities. And with this New Start Act creates a pilot program so that we can get grants and funding for those who are previously incarcerated to come back home and create their own businesses. There's no reason why we can't have that happen. One of our constituents, Chris Wilson, is a person that is an example, shining light of example of what you can do if you give people opportunity once they've been come back home. Some of the things that we weren't able to move past the finish line during crossover, but got some good traction that I wanted to highlight was House Bill 310. The other thing that we know that is an issue with crime in our community is our blight, our vacant homes. We unfortunately lost some firefighters this past year due to that. But also beyond that, there's also a public safety issue where if you look at the data from where shootings are happening, there's vacant homes almost near every shooting. So what this bill would have done is authorize the mayor to put a sliding scale on property taxes so that we can have a way to ensure that we could maybe encourage to get rid of these vacant homes through taxing them at a rate in which we can get the attention of those owners who are sitting on these properties. It got some good traction in Ways and Means, and we're hoping that once we get some things worked out, we can bring this bill back next year. And then the other bill, a bill of mine, House Bill 25, the REAP Act, a bill that also got some good traction. We got some great conversations with the Department of Corrections, but that bill was working towards getting more programming and money into our prisons so that those who are incarcerated are fully rehabilitated and have the resources to thrive upon their release. So these are all the things we're working on. There's a multitude of other things that fall under the public safety umbrella that we're working on, from mental health to just resources overall. And we can't cover them all in this short amount of time, but we've really been working hard on you all's behalf to make our communities more safe. We take it very seriously, and we're in this fight with you all. And we look forward to hearing from you all more ideas and thoughts on how we can make our communities more safe for next session. And we look forward to tracking these bills and making sure the ones that pass get all the way through. So I guess I'll turn it over to Delegate Wells now, who will be talking about some of the things that we've been able to do in housing.
Thank you, Delegate Amprey. Before Delegate Wells, my apologies. Before you get started, I want to ask folks to please use the chat room. We're going to put a link to a constituent form. If you have issues that you'd like to follow up with us with, we want everyone's voice to be heard, and so create an opportunity. Obviously, we're time limited tonight, but we want to make sure that regardless of how much time we spend, that we are responsive to whatever concerns you all may have. So if you have concerns, please, or questions, please put them in the chat. And then Danielle or Ms. Mayo from our office will also upload a form by which you could put constituent issues. And if we don't get it addressed tonight, we will be sure to get back in contact with you in writing with the appropriate response. Without further ado, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Delegate Wells.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you for the overview on public safety, Delegate Amprey. So just, as we kind of said, we know that public safety and also housing and development, community development are things that we know are really important to the 40th district, to our neighborhoods in the 40th district. And so one from the previous section, which was alluded to earlier in the introductions, but the phenomenal work done by Senator Hayes on SB 859, which addressed the appraisal gap. So we know that there's historic redlining in the fact that a lot of Black neighborhoods and Black homes have been lowballed, basically. And we know that there still are, there still is a inequity when we look at the appraisal process, even till today. So that's a really important one. I think the focus was to get more funding this year. I think Senator Hayes will probably share some updates on that when he gives his overview of his legislation. The other one I want to talk about, I was lead sponsor on this bill this year, HB 551. I've gotten a lot of calls from my office, emails around people seeing their rent going up by, in some cases, upwards of like $1,000 a month. So just a really, large increase in rent. And so what this bill does is it requires that if the rent goes up by more than 4%, I think on average, there's about a 3 to 4% increase in rent annually, but we're seeing much higher percentage increases. So if it goes up by more than 4%, there has to be a 90-day notice provided by the landlord to the tenant. So that's supposed to help provide some support, at least give them more time. The other bill, HB 691, SB 564, a tenant eviction prevention services. So this would just allow the court to provide a continuance Basically, you know, we're still getting out from the federal government. The city and counties are still getting money on the eviction rental assistance program. So for individuals who would also be trying to access those services, giving them some time to get those services before you know, they're put out on the streets. Another thing, so, you know, we know that we have homeowners and we have renters in our district. And so we really work hard to make sure we're supporting all of the housing needs of the 40th district residents. And so I know the other thing that there's been a lot of push for this year that we've all been supporting is property tax relief, and primarily being able to provide more, having the relief programs be accessible to individuals, to homeowners who are seeing that the assessed rate going up and therefore their property taxes are going up with it. Next slide, please, Danielle. So the other one is a big one around notice of property tax increase. So this is a bill that the city will mail each, you know, January 1 of each year. They would be required to send notice of increase in property if the property tax is going up by more than 10%. Another one, this is a really great bill. Our colleague over on the east side, Delegate Chanel Branch, was the lead sponsor. And this would allow, when it comes to tax sale, helping us prevent folks from losing their homes. So allowing for there to be a payment plan in place. And if there's a payment plan in place, then tax sale cannot proceed further. So this is something that's really, really important, especially for folks that are on fixed incomes or folks that are aging in place. We know that the cost of living is going up tremendously on top of the fact that our property taxes are going up because there's a bidding war over homes right now. So that's also increasing the cost of housing. And then the other one is that in terms of for tenant, as I spoke to you earlier about the eviction rental assistance program, we have landlords that are not accepting money basically from the federal government. This is money that spends like any other money spends, but they aren't accepting. And I've gotten emails about this. I know we've all gotten emails about this. And so this would say that landlords do have to accept the eviction rental assistance resources if a tenant has applied for it and is able to cover their rent through that process. So next slide, I think I might have a few more. So just a few more. I really want to highlight HB 1097 because I think this really builds off of the really good work of our senator around the appraisal gap. But there have been some really high profile examples around primarily in Prince George's County, but we know that these are not scenarios that are limited to Prince George's. But we do know what we share in common with Prince George's, and that it is Baltimore is also majority Black jurisdiction. But we know that a lot of the appraisal process, that there is a lot of, unfortunately, instances in which Black homeowners are being, their homes are being appraised at a significantly lower rate than that of white homeowners and other homes in the community. And so this is really going to be doing a task force to look at what the problems are. I know part of the task force is supposed to also address getting more Black appraisers in the pipeline and also beefing up our enforcement mechanisms and oversight. That way individuals that are subjected to this, that, you know, that there's swift punishment, but also that homeowners, that they have some right of recourse. So I think this is my last slide on housing bills, but this is just a snapshot of all the housing work that's taking place this session. So thank you for your time.
And thank you, Delegate Wells. You all can expect to see a lot of work on this appraisal thing. For many of us, our homes are our single most valuable asset, but especially in neighborhoods of color, the de-evaluation has been just downright disrespectful and cruel. And if you look nationally, the appraisal industry has less than 1% people of color in that industry. And so stay tuned. There's going to be more opportunities to try to engage our historically Black colleges and universities, as well as making sure that we have the appropriate training on these appraisers to make sure that there's no implicit bias. But thank you so much, Delegate Wells, for sharing this. And we shared these two topics because we heard from you so frequently that it was important. I know there's a lot of time has passed. I want to go really, really quickly through these next few slides And I want to thank Chad Hayes. Many of the people here, especially in the western part of Baltimore City, know our Western District Planner and Supervisor, Chad Hayes, who does an extraordinary job. And Chad just simply provided to us, as it relates to development, there's a lot of opportunities in which the planning department will engage various individuals, various meeting with city agencies. Many of you all have seen Chad and his colleagues at your meeting, working on the planning commission, ensuring that the CHAP districts or historic and architectural preservation is compatible, evaluating and analyzing cost sustainability. And the types of projects include community plan and urban renewal. So planning does an awesome job in that as it relates to community development. We want to go to the next slide. Another part of planning's responsibility is looking at various criteria as it relates to equity, health, safety, asset condition, and return on investment. So there's a lot of information. If you go to planning's website, you will see there. Next slide. There's also certain state and federal mandates by which they have to go by as well. Wow. So I didn't realize this side was going to be so small, but we did want to highlight some of the things that we were able to do this year. We always like to highlight the various capital budget proposals that we've put before the General Assembly. And we've been very successful with this year's budget. We're in the final days of the budget. But if you look at St. Luke's Center, which is in the southwest part of Baltimore, I believe we went in asking for 500,000. We have 100,000. We're going to see if we can get a little bit more, but we know we're going to get 100,000 there. Squash Wise, which is teaching our young people, the sport of squash, and then getting them prepared academically to go off to college and even compete. We sought 250,000 and we received 250,000. Poppleton Rec, we've asked for 500,000 for them, and we're well on our way to securing that in the next couple of days. The Maryland Center for History and Culture, 1.5, Hippodrome, 4 million. Hanlon Park Multi-Purpose Center. Hanlon Park is going through extraordinary renovations, but they don't have a multi-purpose center or a field house there. So we're seeking some plan design money. The Baltimore Urban League, 500,000. Emmett Center, Druid Heights, the Sphinx Club. We've been successful at securing $250,000 towards that project. Catholic Charities, about 2 million. Baltimore Uni Hall, 200,000. Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, Baltimore Museum of Art, the B&O Railroad, Afro Charities, For My City, and Coppin State University. Our district is very diverse, and we have some great institutions. And so this year, we're on track to bring home a significant amount of investment, which you all know also leads to jobs and opportunities in our community. And so let's go to the next slide. This map is even smaller. Good Lord, I can't
You
even.
need to use my eyes, Senator.
Yeah, but this maps essentially give you an idea of where these projects are located. There's one of our community leaders, Ms. Linda Batts, recommended that in the future when we present, we provide a map to show where the actual projects are located. But as you see, we have projects all over the 40th district taking place right here in our city. Next slide. And then Delegate Prettyman, I want to give you an opportunity to go over your slides. Ladies and gentlemen, Delegate Prettyman represents 44A. And she literally just got started, just the session got started. And some people would say you're limited in how much you're able to get done. Because of her work in advocacy in the community for so many years, when she's joined us, she hit the ground running. And she and Senator Sidnor has been working feverishly to bring resources back to the community. But literally, she just only got started a couple of months ago and has been able to achieve some extraordinary things. Because of redistricting, we'll explain a little bit later, it's more than likely that our district will overlap 44A. And so we wanted to have tonight an opportunity where we brought Delegate Prettyman and some of the communities that we may possibly represent once the maps are finalized to the table. But Delegate Prettyman, you want to talk about these projects here?
Okay, the first two projects, basically, with the assistance of Senator Sidnor he put in for these bond bills, the Sinai Center, Harvey Johnson Community Center. The last two bills I could speak a little more on. The Hope Work Community Development Center, we actually asked for 175,000, but we also asked if they would increase that one. That's a project that's with the Step Forward program, a wonderful project. They help with community needs, community cleanups, anything in the community that we have asked them to do, they've done. They need a lot of work in their buildings. It's a recovery program. They have an excellent program that we are so proud of, and we're hoping to get the funds that they need to continue the work that they're doing. The Smallwood Senior Housing Building is another one who have tried for a couple of years to get funding for. It's a senior high-rise building. They are in need of a lot of construction work, renovation work, and we're just hoping, we asked for $1 million for them, and we're hoping to get as much of that as possible to help them on their way.
I guess I'm next. So just want to go over the legislative update for the bills that I sponsored that were successful over the crossover. I'm really thankful to get these bills through. But before I continue, I just want to say one thing about the money that we've secured for our districts. I want to say, like, you know, it's not a process where you just fill out a piece of paper and you eventually get it. It's a lot of hard work that goes into it. So I just want to thank Senator Hayes for his mentorship and helping us get some. I mean, it really takes a lot of talking with the individuals who kind of have the discretion on where this money goes. So it's really a lot of hard work that goes into getting every dollar we bring back to our community. So I just want to give kudos to my colleagues for their hard work. And you know, it's not as easy as a piece of paper and an ask. So just wanted to make that quick announcement there. But as far as my legislative update, just wanted to update you all on some of the bills that we were able to pass before crossover, or to get crossed over. So a bill that I filed with the senator, House Bill 69, which will require there to be a more equitable process to how we have our homes assessed. And it's really important that we have that in a way in which we can ensure, as Delegate Wells was mentioning earlier, ensuring that, you know, as the taxes are going to go up, we will make sure that it's equitable and fair in how that occurs. The other bill that I wanted to highlight that's really important and near and dear to me is House Bill 97, the work group on Black, Latino, Asian, American Pacific Islander, and other underrepresented behavioral health professionals. We have a serious need for mental and behavioral health professionals across the state, period. We're putting race to the side. But when you take race into factor, we are in dire need of people of color, especially when it comes to working with our youth, especially with those who are dealing with addiction, especially with those who are dealing with the trauma of violence. And if we really want to deal with the issues that our city has seen over the past few years, we need professionals that look like the community to come in and provide those services. We had, within our Baltimore City delegation meeting, we had Dr. Santelises, who came and spoke, and she said that if we don't have people that look like and talk like and can understand our students in these school buildings to help them with mental and behavioral health, the disconnect doesn't allow for there to be the breakthrough that needs to happen. So getting this bill through to create a work group where we can actually figure out how to get more people of color into the field is really important. So I'm really thankful that that bill crossed over and hoping to get a favorable report over in the finance committee, Senator. House Bill 179. Another thing that's really near and dear to my heart is the issue that we have with food deserts in our community. My family is from 21216 and 21217. 21217 has maybe the most, between 21217 and 21216, this past year, when I was distributing food baskets with our organization, that was the biggest request for food in those two zip codes. And the reality is, when I was a kid, there were 2 grocery stores I could walk to. And when my grandma asked me to go get some more, I need some more fat back for these greens, baby, go into the store. I could walk to the store and get it. Those 2 stores are no longer here. And we got to bring more stores to our communities. This work group is going to figure out how to put together a map so we can have a baseline system to ensure that we have a way in which we can monitor where food deserts are in the entire state and address it at the state level. We already talked briefly about our HB 1210, same thing we did last year with restricting the hours for oh, sorry, this is 12. So 1210 moved some alcohol licenses and actually created a market license for the new Lexington market. So we're going to have a availability for alcohol to be there. And it's going to be a great way for us to really bolster that new space. 1221, it goes back to we are putting in hour limits on some of the liquor stores in the North Avenue corridor to help reduce the violence. It's something that works. And we're looking forward to that being, it's going to be an emergency bill, so it will go into effect immediately. And then the last thing is HB 1222, something that I was able to offer on behalf of the mayor's team in order to, it's a way in which we can collect data to better use our mental health professionals in situations of crises instead of relying on our police only. We're going to be able to have this data shared from the state so that we can ensure that we are safely dealing with those who are suffering from mental health and that police are not the primary people dealing with that. So those are my updates. And I think I'm passing it over. Oh, so contact information, if you need anything, there it is. We have the longest, I really despise our email addresses. They're so freaking long. But it's so long. But there it is for you. If you need anything, reach out to my office and we're happy to help you. All my social media handles are there. It's a great way to stay abreast of what's going on in the legislature on my end and my colleagues' end. So I think now I'll pass it over to Delegate Prettyman. Yes, I had it right. All right, there we go.
All righty. The bill that I passed, my first bill, and it was voted unanimously in the committee and on the House floor, I was excited. House Bill 1362, Baltimore City, use of highway user revenue funds for traffic functions enforcements. Basically, what the bill does, it cuts out a couple of middlemen for our crossing guards. We know, like, my fellow Delegate Amprey talked about public safety and different things of that sort. We need our crossing guards in Baltimore City. Crossing guards, to me, have been more than just somebody to cross the children across the streets. So in order for them to get paid, we had to kind of cut out some of the middlemen, make sure the money goes straight to DOT and they can get paid, and we can keep our crossing guards on the corners for our youth. I don't know if it's another slide. I think that's the only bill. Okay, the other slide is my information. So if you need to reach out to me, feel free. My contact information is listed. Thank you.
No, and thank you, Delegate Prettyman. And she is so humble in her accomplishments. The highway user revenue fees is a very covenant source of money. They don't make many changes to that for nobody, but to get this bill passed in just our first year. Congratulations, Delegate Prettyman. Next slide, Danielle. Delegate Wells.
Thank you. Next slide, please. So I have to just say, I'm really excited. For those of you that know the great philosopher Drake, I started from the bottom and now we are here. I got 6 bills out the House this year. And I say that jokingly, but that actually is a pretty big deal because it takes a lot of work, because once your bill gets out there, it's not your bill anymore. And so I'm really proud of over the last 4 years, the work with, with all of you on these issues, hearing from you about what's really important, and also just understanding how to work our bills, working with the Senate, working with our Senate leadership and with Senator Hayes, and working with my colleagues. So a few things, urban ag, that's been something that I really have drawn. I didn't expect that to be one of my top issues when I came in, but it really has turned into it. And I really have started reframing how I even talk about it, because it is about growing businesses and agro businesses. And so the focus that I have is around making sure that we not only have healthy food in our communities that are grown there, that create jobs, but that we are also supporting an economy. And so this year I was able to get a bill passed that would create a statewide urban ag fund, and it specifically focuses on supporting and growing those businesses. And so that's really, really important because unfortunately, sometimes we have to save ourselves. And so this is a way for us to be able to empower our communities and be able to actually grow our food and make it a profitable endeavor. I talked a little bit about HB 51. 551 earlier around the rent increase and just making sure that there's notice of at least 90 days. We had another bill this year. Unfortunately, it did not make its way out of the House, but a production activity tax credit. Basically, this would provide some vital resources for us to continue to do production here in Maryland. It's a very profitable for every $1 that is invested. The return is almost $4 in state and local, but specifically, it has a tremendous impact on local businesses, local job opportunities, and our local revenue. HB 433 is another bill. I work closely with the Votes Coalition, with the mayor's office, and also with the school board of commissioners. And this expands almost full voting rights with the exception of personnel for the student member of the board. And it creates a commission to look at how we can consider expansion of an additional student to the board, and also looks at compensation and what that could look like. That way individuals that, really time is money. And I think that folks would like to be more engaged, but sometimes, it requires them to make arrangements, babysitters and things like that. So we're just trying to find more ways to get more folks involved and also to compensate people for their time. The other bill is HB 434. So this is a bill that we put in, I think, for the last about at least 3 years, just about. And this would would empower the Baltimore City Department of Transportation. It empowers them to utilize additional methods like the Complete Streets manual that the city is doing. It would allow them to use other studies when it comes to traffic calming, especially in our residential roads. Currently, they have to do very costly traffic studies. And so this would allow them to utilize additional methods that would still be very thoughtful, but I think would help us be able to be more responsive in moving and changing the speed limit to do traffic calming. And then one of my last bills is HB 436. This is a bill that would allow individuals that have had extenuating financial circumstances, so health-related challenges, especially because of COVID. Perhaps there's been a loss of employment, costly divorce, or there's been some other type of significant life event that has had a economic impact. So it would allow individuals to be able to reach out to the insurance companies and say that I've been facing this hardship and I would like for my credit score not to be a factor that is utilized in the rating. This issue is an issue that I know I hear a lot at the doors via emails and conversations about how high car insurance rates are in Baltimore City, and the other jurisdiction is Prince George's County. And so this is a really tough issue to really for us to kind of kick the door open. This is a crack of the door, but this would provide an alternative. It provides an option that does not currently exist for individuals who are looking for some type of reprieve. So I will be continuing to fight on this issue. We just have to get it out of the Senate. And I will also keep fighting on this issue for us to just make the assessment of car insurance rates more equitable and fair. So these are just some of the bills that we worked on this year. And here's my contact information, everything, state email, and also all my social media. So I try to be active on all those different forums, so keep in contact with folks. But I appreciate all of you, and I'm just very blessed to be able to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Delegate Wells. Again, I just want to remind everyone to please, if you have questions in the chat, also Danielle is putting a little form in there that you can fill out if you have constituent issues. We want to make sure there's a lot going on this session, but as always, this is our tradition. We meet the Saturday before session starts, we meet in the middle, and then we have after. So we want to make sure at every stage along session that our constituents know what we're doing, that we help inform them of what we're working on. Also, they can hold us accountable for what we're working on and have feedback. And so we again met this year before session. This is our mid-session briefing where we're just telling you how things are going, but we will have an after session. So after session, we'll have a better picture of all the things that took place this session and can report it out to you. And so I will go through mine really quickly, but please, if you have any questions, suggestions, whatever, put it in the chat. As I said, you know, property is a big issue to me, and because I believe that's where one of our most valuable assets. One of our constituents in Bolton Hill brought to us the issue that when she went to appeal her assessment, they based it solely off of sales. If you have a neighborhood where there's not a lot of sales going on, it puts you at a huge disadvantage. And so we were able to get that bill passed this year with the help of Delegate Amprey. Out of respect for many of our seniors, especially those who reach the age of 100, we introduced the bill and we're going to give them a huge tax break up to $100,000 of their individual income. We didn't update that based off the amendments there. Y'all see it still say $50,000, but we're going to give them a $100,000 tax break. If you have been successful at living to be 100 and you paid your taxes and all, I think that's a way that we should definitely honor our seniors. Also, the last bill, Senate Bill 274, an exemption on personal business. We have a lot of small minority business owners working from home, and we increased the amount by which they could claim personal property. Working at home, especially if you're working in a house setting, having those tax exemptions could be helpful in building additional wealth. Next slide. And I think we only put up a limited amount in the Senate this year. We have a limit on 25 bills, I think, and we hit the cap, but we put most of the ones that we're getting passed here. Time to Care Act is probably the most significant bill that I have introduced for the last 3 years, and it's been in the work over the last 10 years. So many of you all know my grandmother helped step in the gap for me when I was at a young age where all the other safety nets fell out. Now I find myself, along with other relatives, being responsible for her care. And so the Time to Care Act give individuals the ability to take off of work and take care of loved ones, or for those just as Jenny and I just experienced, gave birth to a child, to take time off. Many of you all are familiar with FMLA. FMLA was passed years ago at the federal level. It provides you job protection, but it doesn't provide you any pay in that time that you're taking off. And so this doesn't provide you 100% of what you would be making while you were at work, but at least a significant portion of your pay if you had an extraordinary circumstance where you got really ill, or you gave birth to something like that. To so many families, this is important. The United States is probably one of the only industrialized places in our nation that don't provide for this leave. So this is a big, very important bill. And I am quite confident that we're going to get something done this year. One of the other things that I looked at, especially one of the problems that we have in Baltimore, 30% of our land base is non-taxable. You cannot tax the land because we have some great institutions like hospitals and churches and all of that. None of them pay property taxes, which is the single greatest revenue that we have. And so this legislation addressed those religious organizations that lease out to a third party, right? And so they lease out to organizations that's not affiliated at all with the church, not affiliated at all with the ministry, but because they're on church property, they're exempt from paying taxes, right? We have a couple of cases like that. And so we're trying to clean up our tax code and make sure that there's some honesty and transparency in our tax code. Next slide. One of the things, and this has not been successful at moving forward, some of you all may be familiar with ground rent. I made an effort to get rid of ground rent. I'm not done with this. There's a little bit more research that we have to do, but with a $7.2 billion surplus, all the estimates that I've heard, it only costs $20 million for the state to buy off all of the ground rents in the state. And so I'll be coming back with that bill in the near future. And the last one, you're going to hear a lot about this bill. This is the best bill to help alleviate displacement. And I want everyone to tell their community and their neighbors about it, especially our seniors. Those who are senior in our community, who are on fixed income, qualify for what you call a homeowner's tax credit. It's a very, very lucrative credit where a lot of our seniors on a very fixed income, it helped them from losing their homes and things of that nature. The problem is you have to apply for it every year. A lot of times that is too burdensome on our constituencies. And so what we're trying to do this year is make it automatic. Once you apply for it, you keep getting it over and over, just like the homestead tax credit. But this is so important tool. It's been around for at least 3 to 4 years, and it's woefully underutilized. A lot of low-income homeowners are not taking advantage of this. Hopefully we get it automatic. If not, I'm going to continue working with you all as leaders to get the information out there, and maybe, you know, employ some of our colleges and universities to help some of our seniors out in filling out this paperwork. This is a huge tool to mitigating disbursement. Next slide. I think I'm done. Yes. So this is how you contact me. Reach out to me anytime. I know a lot of our constituents have my cell phone number, and I will try to be as responsive as possible through a text and a cell phone. Next slide. Announcements. Next slide. Oh, primary election day has been moved back to the 19th. Why did we put this up here? So you all know that this year is a redistricting year. And with redistricting, currently the redistricting is still in the hands of the courts. If you look around the nation, especially in places where in the South and other places where there's more of a Republican stronghold, Republican legislatures have been doing a lot to erode the confidence in voting rights. In Maryland, we have a Democratic legislature, but all of the judges have been appointed by a Republican governor. And so the judges have actually moved back. This is the second time they moved back election day. This year is the 19th. You all know we've never had an election day in July here in Baltimore or in Maryland. So it's going to be imperative that all of us get out and tell our neighbors, especially those who usually go on vacation, that election day has changed. So if it changes again, we will definitely let you all know. Next slide.
I got one thing, Senator, real quick.
Go ahead, Marlon.
Hey, so we had to get you on this one, man. So, you know, I wanted to make sure we gave you some congratulations. You know, let me tell y'all, we already have a hardworking senator, everybody, but this man literally had a baby in the middle of session and is still here every day, is still grinding out to get things done for the community. So thank you, Senator, for your sacrifice, because we already know that whenever we're in session, our families definitely take a hit. And you had a baby, so we just want to say congratulations to you and Jenny, and we want to publicly do so. Our constituents are so great, they beat us to it, so they've already given you so much congratulations, but I wanted to sneak this slide in here and make sure we gave you a public congratulations. We're so happy for you and Jenny, and, you know, look forward to, you know, our babies growing up together, and you know, they're going to see a whole entire new 40th by the time they are age, you know, so the transformation will have taken place then, you know? So I'm just excited for you and Jenny, and congratulations again.
Indeed, you must have worked on my stuff. I was like, this was not the slide that was in there.
No, I asked Danielle to slide to get a surprise slide in there.
Got you. No, thank you all. And so many people have reached out to us. We're so grateful and blessed. Thank you so much. Danielle, can we go to the real next slide? All right. All right. So we want to, we have about 15 minutes left. I know the delegates had a previous engagement that they were actually supposed to be at 7 o'clock. We're 15 minutes over. That's why I encourage you guys to put questions and stuff in the chat. Danielle, if you could take down the slide really, really quickly.
I want to add one more thing, Senator. So one thing that I think we just didn't mention, and I saw it in the chat in regards to the red line. So I wanted to just highlight, you know, we have three delegates here who serve on environment and transportation. And this year we were really lucky that Delegate Rosenberg of District 41 offered a bill in order to pretty much require that they go ahead and get a study together to get prepared for the funding of the red line once that money, when I'm gonna claim it, when the money comes down for it, right? So, but that bill passed in the House. So I just wanted to make that announcement because that really affects our district wholeheartedly as far as transportation. So many things that are tied to housing and education and opportunity in Baltimore. It's just the lack of access to equitable transportation. So we did get a bill through addressing the red line so that we are ready for when the money drops. So thank you to Delegate Rosenberg. But I wanted to make sure that I don't think anybody mentioned this. I want to make sure that I mentioned that because I saw it in the chat like 2 or 3 times. So just, before that question comes, just wanted to make sure I said that. So thank you. I'm sorry.
No, I appreciate it. Again, if you have a question, you want to put it in the chat, we'll make sure we get to it. Also, Danielle and Ms. Mayo are putting up the form there. But if we could take 2 or 3 questions, if anyone have them. Again, this is our mid-session. Please, please, please stay tuned. Once session is over, the budget would have been finalized. We would know all the bills that have passed. So we'll have a lot more information that we need to share with you guys to let you all know what's going on. But I'll tell you, we have one of the most dynamic and hardworking teams in the legislature, and it's been an honor to have Delegate Prettyman with us. This legislative session kind of hit the ground running, and so we look to continue serving you all. But any questions? You want to use the raise your hand feature? Somebody's going. Oh, I see one hand. Oh, Miss Paulette Curl from Poppleton. Yes, ma'am. Miss Paulette, I cannot hear you right now. I see you took it off mute. Maybe you need to turn the volume up or something. Miss Paulette. All right. If for some reason your sound come back, feel free to chime in where you can. There's a Galaxy A11.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is Sonia. I don't know. I was waiting for Paulette since she put her hand up, but we were not in opposition of the red line, but we are in a situation that the red line is trying to come through our neighborhood, which will affect the structures of the towns of the terrace home ownership properties. And now we've just learned that they are also trying to bring that traffic above ground through Fremont Avenue. And so we've been in conversations with the red line people all for the last 6 months. And we haven't heard back from them on trying to get them to direct that red line outside of Poppleton down to at least Martin Luther King Boulevard, because they don't know what the long-term effects are going to be when it comes down to our structures. So that's something that we just want to put on the radar and let people know that we do not want that red line coming under our properties within the Poppleton borders.
Gotcha. No, thank you for bringing that up, Miss Edie. I think we were handing out turkeys for Thanksgiving with Miss Paulette and another constituent. I believe another constituent raised that with us. You all are you're much more ahead of us. I haven't had an opportunity to have any conversations with MDOT or anyone in reference to what their plans are, but we will definitely follow up and get back to you. Thank you so very much. Miss Elma?
Hi, I'm really concerned about the red line. We had a ribbon cutting, we had money, we had unions, the whole 9 yards. And I'm one of those people that grew up in the 800 block of Franklintown Road when it really originated back in the 60s. What's going to keep it from going through all these stages and you get right to the end and someone pull the money like our governor did and gave it to Prince George's County and Montgomery County? What's going to keep it, it made me feel like, oh, you in Baltimore, you don't need it. You don't deserve it. And I mean, I was at the ribbon cut. I mean, Elijah Cummings was down there. I mean, it was the whole thing, a ribbon cutting. So To me, that's like the 11th hour.
No, and we, right now, there's a couple of things that's been put in place to try to ensure and encourage the red line coming back. And I see Mr. Glenn Smith speaking, but losing that federal money was probably the biggest blow to the success of that project. And so I don't know if they would have to start all over or where would they be with that. But Mr. Glenn, you want to weigh in here? I'm assuming you have some information you want to share us on how people could get engaged and involved about what's going on as it relates to the red line. And we'll have you have the last question before we wrap up.
Okay, Senator, we are in the process, Baltimore Transit Equity Coalition is in the process of a petition campaign to form a Baltimore Regional Transportation Authority, which will take the decision-making out of the state's hand, and we will be able to decide on the projects that benefit our community better. There are no, I think only one other state in the country that has those decisions in the hand of the state.
Yeah.
As far as going under anybody's home, the red line will not go under anybody's home. So, you know, we've tried to express that to Poppleton. We got them engineer drawings and everything. There's misinformation out there that needs to be disseminated. And you know, this red line with 10,000 jobs and $2 to $3 billion in transit-oriented development is the only Kickstarter that will bring Baltimore back. The reason why we're having crime problems, vacant housing problems, we don't have jobs. The way that was taken away from us by the governor was, I think, a criminal act. So, you know, we have to fight and make sure this time that we don't let this opportunity pass us by. Thank God that Senators Van Hollen and Cardin put it in the infrastructure bill, but we have to be vigilant to make sure that that money doesn't go to MTA, who have done nothing to improve transit in Baltimore City. So if you go to moretransitequity.com, you can get information on how to receive a petition. We need 10,000 signatures by August the 1st, but this is the major project that's going to bring Baltimore back. We have to make sure we fight for it, like they didn't fight when it was canceled.
Thank you, Reverend Smith. And we're going to wrap up there again. Ladies and gentlemen, in the chat room is a form that you can fill out. We're going to come back together, I believe, in May or June. Ms. Mayo, I'm not sure we have a date. But hey, let me pause real quick, because a lot of times we're in the forefront and we get a lot of praise, but there's no way that we couldn't do this without our staff and many of your support. So Ms. Mayo serves as our Director of Community Outreach and Constituent Services and Education. Danielle Ziegler, I don't know how I got Zigerman, but Danielle Ziegler serves as my Chief of Staff. Without these dedicated public servants, we wouldn't be able to get half of this stuff done. So thank you so much for all that you do on behalf of our constituents. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, our office and all of our offices are accepting applications for our scholarships. It matters not how old you are, or whether you're going to a 2-year institution, a 4-year institution. Every single person that applies for a scholarship in the 40th district gets a scholarship. For my scholarship, you could go on our website at Antonio.hayes.com. You fill out the application. Every single person that applied gets a scholarship. Each of the delegates have their own scholarship. The good thing about the senator scholarship is you apply 1 year, you automatically renew. With the delegate scholarship, you have to apply, but it should be the goal of everyone to get at least four scholarships in a district. So please, please, please check that out. I know I said we're not going to have any more questions, but I see our State Central Committee, Monica Cooper, has something, and so I'm gonna cut to her real quick, and then we will wrap up. Monica, you want to come in real quick?
Yes, Senator, I just wanted to know, does that scholarship also apply to persons who are pursuing master's degrees?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, wow, that's fantastic. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
indeed. No problem. So please, no matter what the age, at Coppin State University, we have a lot of non-traditional students that are older that decide to go back to school. Please apply for that scholarships. We will not have any money go back to the state. We're giving away every dime to individuals in the 40th district. So please apply. Thank you all again for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in May and June. We'll be releasing that date soon for our end of session wrap up, where we will summarize everything that we've worked on and then preparing to go back to work next year. Thank you all so much for joining us, and have a good night.